Welcome back to another MECH 1000 video. In the last video, I showed you how to use this ISO draft mode in order to draw isometric drawings. I just drew a few basic boxes here. So that's about all there is to it for isometric drawings, except for one other thing, one catch here, and that is how do you draw a circle, a circular hole, using well, how do you draw a circular hole in an isometric drawing? And the key here is, the key thing to understand is that because we're viewing these planes at an isometric or oblique angle, the holes that would normally be circular are not drawn with circles. So let me say that again. Do not use circles in an isometric drawing. Instead, we need to draw our circles using the ellipse command. So circles in an isometric drawing are actually ellipses. I know that seems a bit strange, but that's because of the way that the object is being viewed from an isometric angle. So there are two ways of making an ellipse in AutoCAD. The first option is called center, and the second one is called axis end. This is the one you want to use, the second one. So you need to select that, axis end. Now, the other thing to do is make sure you're in the correct isoplane. If I want to draw a circle on the left side or the front face of this box, I need to be in the front or left isoplane. And again, as a reminder, you can cycle through those isoplanes using the F5 key. So that's the top, that's the right, that's the left plane. So if I want to draw a circle here on this side of the box, that's the plane I need to be in. Now the other thing to remember is before you start clicking, before you start drawing this ellipse, you need to select the option here for ISO circle. Okay, so once we've got that selected, I'll try to make it in the middle of my box here that I've drawn. So I'm going to adjust my snap settings here. So it was at 0.5. Let's go 0.25. There we go. So that's going to allow me to click right in the middle of this box. And that's just like drawing a regular circle. You select the center and you select the radius. Or if you'd prefer, you can hit D or click down here for D to enter the diameter. So I'm just going to click, and there you go. I have a hole or a circle drawn on the left plane of that box. Now if I want to draw a similar circle on the right plane of this box, again, you need to make sure you're in the right isoplane. Use the F5 key to cycle through those planes until you get to isoplane right. And again, do not use a circle. Use an ellipse, but not just any ellipse, the axis end. And before you start clicking anywhere, be sure to select the ISO circle option. There, so I can make a circle on the right surface. And finally, if I want to make a hole, a circular hole, on the top plane, just cycle through until you get to the top isoplane. Choose the ellipse, choose the ISO circle option, and draw it. So again, holes or circles in an isometric drawing are not drawn with the circle command. There should be no circles in an isometric drawing. Now, the thing about that is that unfortunately that also means arcs and other commands that use an arc like fillets, those are out as well. We cannot use the fillet command in an isometric drawing. We cannot use arcs. We cannot use circles. So what if I wanted to round this off? Let's say I want to round off this corner. I can't just simply use a fillet. I'm going to have to make an isometric arc or circle that I'm going to trim off. And so I'm not really too worried about the size of it, but then once I've made this, I'll copy it. Actually, I didn't need to copy. I could have just moved. Let's move this one from that point to there. And now I will copy this from that corner to that one. And then you just need to do some trimming. I'm going to select all of this to do my trimming. I'll trim off the lines, trim off the inside of the arc, and I can get rid of that. So now I've rounded that off that corner. Again, I can't use the fillet command. I have to draw an elliptical arc or a complete ellipse and then trim it off. So I can draw a line here to sort of show where that ellipse begins and ends, where that fillet starts and ends. But you don't really need that. If that's a perfectly smooth transition, you don't really need a line there. Okay. Another thing, since I've got some more time, let me draw some lines. I'll draw a box, but I'll make it a thin box. I'll sort of draw it like it's a plate. Okay, so let's say I've got a thin plate and I want to put a hole in it. So again, don't use circle, use ellipse, isocircle. So there's this the ellipse that's on the front face of this plate. What I can do to show the same circle or ellipse, in this case, on the back side of the plate is I can copy this ellipse from any point that's on the front surface, like the front corner here, and copy it to the back corner. And then the front face of this would obscure most of this ellipse on the back side. We wouldn't be able to see it, so I'll just trim that off. And there we go. That's how you give that illusion of depth of the hole. You've got the front ellipse and the back ellipse representing the front and back faces of that hole. And then you just trim off the parts of the ellipse that we don't see. So that is how you can show a hole. Let's say we wanted to draw a cylinder. Maybe I want to orient that cylinder vertically. I'll change my isoplane to be the top. Oh, see, look, I clicked on circle. Didn't mean to do that. Ellipse, isocircle. So it can be a bit of a hard habit to break. We're so used to using ellipses. What the heck did I do? Let's try that again. Isocircle. There we go. We're so used to drawing circles when it comes to holes. We have to kind of get rid of that idea when we're doing these isometric drawings. It's only ellipses. All right, and so then I'll copy this. This is going to be the bottom of my ellipse. I want to copy it straight up. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to switch, temporarily at least, my isoplane so that I can choose a starting point and an ending point. Copy it straight up, and then these lines that connect the two are going to be the sides of the cylinder. Okay, and then I just have to trim off the back side of that bottom ellipse. And so now I've drawn a cylinder, an isometric cylinder. Okay, so I think that just about does it for our isometric drawings. A quick recap. To do an isometric drawing, turn on IsoDraft. I recommend having ortho mode turned on to avoid accidentally making a diagonal line. Use the F5 key to cycle between the different isoplanes. And finally, do not use circles, arcs, or the fillet command. Be sure to use ellipses to make all circular features. Okay, that does it for this video.